Hello students, welcome back. Today we will study about transportation in humans. In this video, we will learn about the circulatory system. Now, how the substances are transported in humans? It is done by the help of circulatory system. Okay. Now, what is circulatory system? What do you mean by circulatory system? The circulatory system comprises of heart, blood and blood vessels. What does it comprises of? It consists of blood, blood vessels and heart. Now, what is its function? What is the function of the circulatory system? It is responsible for the supply of oxygen, nutrients, removal of carbon dioxide and the other excretory products. Whatever substances are circulated in our body, it is circulated via circulatory system. And what does circulatory system comprises of? It consists of blood, blood vessels and heart. Now, it also helps us to fight against the infections. It helps in transporting the oxygen to the different parts of the body. It gives us immunity, which fight against the infection. It produces antibodies, which fight against the infections. Now, as we know that our circulatory system comprises of blood, blood vessels and heart. So, we will read about blood. Now, in class 9, we have read that blood is a fluid connective tissue. It is a fluid connective tissue. Now, what are the components which are present in the blood? Blood comprises of two parts. Blood comprises of two parts. One is your plasma and the other is cellular element. I am repeating myself. The blood comprises of two parts. One is plasma and the other is cellular elements. Clear? Now, what is plasma? Plasma is a straw-colored fluid. Plasma is a straw-colored fluid which acts as a medium. For the transport of these cellular elements. Plasma is a straw-colored fluid which acts as a medium for the transport of these cellular elements. Okay. Now, what are the cellular elements? Cellular elements, the cells which are present in the blood. Cells which are present in the blood. Now, there are generally three types of cells: red blood cell, white blood cell and platelets. Red blood cell, white blood cell and platelets. Now, let me tell you, when this plasma is devoid of fibrinogen, then it is known as serum. When this plasma is devoid of fibrinogen, then it is known as serum. Okay. About what is fibrinogen, we will study very soon. Okay. We will study now. Okay. Now, what are the differences between RBC, WBC and platelet? Now, we need to study what are the differences between the RBC, WBC and platelet. RBCs are produced in red bone marrow. Where does it produce? It produces in red bone marrow. WBCs are also produced in red bone marrow. It is also produced in red bone marrow, in lymph nodes and spleen. Okay. Platelets are fragmented. Okay. Now, what are the lifespan of erythrocyte? The lifespan of erythrocyte is 120 days. The lifespan of leukocyte is 13 to 20 days, or it varies. It may be 7 to 8 days also. And platelets 5 to 9 days. Erythrocyte lacks nucleus. Why does it lack nucleus? Now, I need to explain you all this. That a mature erythrocyte, it lacks nucleus, mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum. A mature erythrocyte, or mature RBC, it lacks nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum and mitochondria. Why does it lack nucleus? Because nucleus occupies the maximum space in the cell. It lacks nucleus so that it provides more surface area, so that it can absorb more oxygen. If it absorbs more oxygen can be transported to the other cells of the body. Okay. So, this is why it lacks nucleus. It lacks nucleus to provide greater surface area, so that more oxygen can be accommodated and so that more oxygen can be transported to the other cells of the body. Now, why mature erythrocyte lacks mitochondria? As we know that mitochondria is helps in cellular respiration. So, if mitochondria will be present over there, all the oxygen would be consumed by the cell itself. Then it would be unable to transport oxygen to the other parts of the body. Clear? So, to prevent the cellular respiration, a mature erythrocyte lacks mitochondria. Now, why does it lack endoplasmic reticulum? To provide flexibility to the cells. Why does it lack endoplasmic reticulum? Why does RBC lacks endoplasmic reticulum? To provide flexibility to the cell. Clear? So, erythrocyte lacks nucleus. A mature erythrocyte lack nucleus, your mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum. Leukocyte WBC contains nucleus, and platelets also does not contain your nucleus. It also lacks nucleus. Now, what are very important? What is the shape of RBC? It is a biconcave disc-like structure. I will show you the figure. It is a biconcave disc-like structure. Now, what is the shape of WBC? Irregularly shaped. Platelets also irregularly shaped. Now, what is the count when you have, if you have seen ever the blood reports, you must have seen these points. Count. Okay. Now, what is count? It is count. The count generally lies 5 to 5.5 million. In case of female, it is 5 to. In case of male, it is 5 to 5.5 million per cubic millimeter, and in case of female, it is 4.5 to 5 million per cubic millimeter, and it is 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000, and this 1,50,000 to 3,50,000. Okay. Now, the color of RBC is red. Why it is red? Due to the presence of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is an iron containing pigment. Due to this, the RBC are red in color. Now, why our WBC are white in color? Due to lack of hemoglobin, because it lacks hemoglobin. Platelets are purple in color. Now, type, it is one type, but leukocytes are of two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Now, what is granulocyte? In which granules are present. Agranulocyte, in which granules are absent. And platelets are also of one type. Now, these are the structure of blood cells. See, this is red blood cell, biconcave disc-like structure. You have to write this word, biconcave disc-like structure. See, now WBC, which, as I told you, WBCs are irregular in shape. Now, I have also explained you that WBCs are of two types, uh, granulocyte and agranulocyte. You can see these dotted granules are present over here. So, this is why it is referred as granulocyte. Now, granulocytes are of three types, basophil, neutrophil and eosinophil. And agranulocytes are of two types, monocytes and lymphocytes. And lymphocytes produces antibody. Lymphocytes produces antibody, which helps us in fighting against the infection. Now, these platelets are responsible for blood clotting, for the coagulation of blood. This is also irregular in shape. Now, what are the function of platelets? It helps the blood to clot. Now, clotting means what? It stops the blood from flowing out of the body when a vein or artery is broken. You must have observed that if you have any injury or any cut, you see that from there the blood comes out. After few minutes, you will see that the blood has stopped coming out. Why? Because platelets helps the blood to clot. It prevents the blood to flow. Clear? Now, red blood cells, as I told you, that it carries oxygen to the different parts of the body. And white blood cell ward off infection. It prevents us from infection. It gives us immunity. It fights against the antigen. It produces antibody and fight against the antigens. Now, what are the process of blood clotting? What are the steps of blood clotting? When there is any cut or injury, the platelets, when it comes exposed to air, from the platelets it releases prothromboplastin, which is an inactive form. With the help of a calcium ion, it converts into active thromboplastin, or we also call it STORT factor, factor K and all. So, it converts into active inactive prothrombin is converted into active thromboplastin. Now this thromboplastin is an enzyme. Now this inactive prothrombin, with the help of thromboplastin and calcium enzyme, it converts into active thrombin. This thromboplastin, when there is any cut or injury, it releases an enzyme known as thromboplastin. Okay, this thromboplastin converts inactive prothrombin into active thrombin. Okay, now this thrombin acts as an enzyme and convert soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrin. Soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrin. Now fibrin is a polymer. Remember, imagine fibers. When it forms a mesh-like structure, it forms a net-like structure. You must have seen when it gets when the blood clots, you must have seen the wound gets flaky, brown colored, mesh-like or net-like structure. That is fibrin polymers, and as a result, it clots. It clots the cells. Clear? So this is the process of blood clotting. Next, what is the function of gases? Blood. It transport respiratory gases. It transport respiratory gases, oxygen gases. Now, what respiratory pigment is present in our blood? Hemoglobin. Which respiratory pigment is present in our blood? Hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is an iron containing pigment which transports oxygen to all the cells and tissues of the body. As I have told you in respiration chapter, that when hemoglobin combines with oxygen, it forms oxyhemoglobin and it forms an unstable compound. Why unstable compound? So that the neighboring cells can easily extract oxygen from it. So that the neighboring cells can easily extract oxygen from it. When hemoglobin combines with carbon dioxide, it forms carbaminohemoglobin, which is a stable compound. Okay, so that they cannot extract it. The cells cannot extract carbon dioxide because it is harmful for our body. Now, when hemoglobin combines with carbon monoxide, it forms a carboxyhemoglobin. So, it transports respiratory gases, it transports nutrients, it transports waste product, it acts as a defense against infection. Next, we will, as I told you that our circulatory system comprises of blood, heart and blood vessels. So, we read about blood, now we will study about heart. Now, heart is a muscular organ which is located near the chest, slightly towards the left in the thoracic region. Okay, slightly, the apex is at the toward the left region. That is why we say that it is located in the left region, but it is generally in the center. Now, your heart size is about your fist size. Your heart size is about your fist size. Okay, your hand's fist size. Now, the heart is the main pumping organ of the body. It is the main pumping organ of the body. Now, our human heart has 4 chambers. Our human heart has 4 chambers which involve in transportation of oxygenated as well as deoxygenated blood. Clear? Now, as I told you that there are 4 chambers in our heart. So, the upper 2 chambers are called atria or auricles. Okay, the upper 2 chambers are called atria or auricles, whereas the lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. Clear? Now, this is the sectional view of the human heart. See, this is an upper chamber. This is an upper chamber which we call auricle or atria, and this is the lower chamber which we call ventricle. Right? We have a 4-chamber heart. Now, you can see this is one vein, superior vena cava, and this is inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body. Clear? Superior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood means impure blood. Deoxygenated blood means impure blood. It brings impure blood from the upper part of the body, and inferior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body, and both the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava pours the deoxygenated blood in the right auricle. Both the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava brings the deoxygenated blood from the different part of the body and pour the blood in the right auricle. Okay, Now there are four valves in our human heart. Okay, tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, pulmonary semilunar valve, and aortic semilunar valve. Pulmonary semilunar valve, and we also have aortic semilunar valve. Now, what is the function of valve? Valve acts as a gatekeeper. Valve acts as a gatekeeper. It allows the blood to flow only in one direction. It allows the blood to flow in only one direction. It prevents the backflow of blood. It prevents the backflow of blood. Now, when the right atrium, when the deoxygenated blood gets filled up, it contracts and this valve gets open and all the deoxygenated blood enters from the right auricle to the right ventricle. It enters from the right auricle to the right ventricle. And as when the blood enters in the right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood, the tricuspid valve gets closed. Why does it get closed? To prevent, mark it and please make it very clear, to prevent the backflow of blood from the right ventricle to the right auricle. So, what is the function of tricuspid valve? The function of the tricuspid valve is to prevent the backflow of blood from the right ventricle to the right auricle. Then from right ventricle, it enters in the pulmonary artery. This is the only artery which carry deoxygenated blood. This is the pulmonary artery is the only artery which carries deoxygenated blood. So when the deoxygenated blood enters from the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery, there is also one valve known as pulmonary semilunar valve. This also acts as a same function. It also has the same function that it prevents the backflow of blood from pulmonary artery to right ventricle. It prevents the backflow of blood from pulmonary artery to right ventricle. Then this pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood. See, when we are showing it with blue color, the deoxygenated blood is showing with blue color. Why? Because it is impure. Now this the pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from pulmonary artery to lungs. Remember in respiration chapter I have shown you, it transports the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation, for therefore purification of deoxygenated blood. Okay, then in alveolar capillaries the exchange of gases takes place by the process of diffusion, then that oxygenated blood, it has been oxygenized, then that oxygenated blood is carried out by pulmonary vein, carried via pulmonary vein, and then oxygenated blood is poured into the left auricle, okay. Again, when it fills, this bicuspid valve gets open, all the oxygenated blood enters from the left atrium to the left ventricle. This mitral valve, or we call it bicuspid valve, this prevents the backflow of oxygenated blood from left ventricle to left auricle. Then the oxygenated blood enters from left ventricle to the aorta through aortic valve. Aortic valve prevents the backflow of blood from aorta to the left ventricle. Then aorta transports oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body. Aorta transports oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body. So we will read in a flow chart. So veins collect deoxygenated blood from the different parts of the body. It enters into the right atrium. Then from right atrium, there is a tricuspid valve which acts as a gatekeeper. Then it enters in the right ventricle. The tricuspid valve gets closed. Why it gets closed? To prevent the backflow of blood from the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to right atrium. Then right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood enters into the pulmonary arteries via pulmonary valve. Then pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood to the lungs in alveolar capillaries for oxygenation. Then from lungs, the oxygenated blood is carried by pulmonary vein, and pulmonary vein transports oxygenated blood to left atrium. Then from left atrium, the oxygenated blood enters into left ventricle, where there is a bicuspid or mitral valve which prevents the backflow of oxygenated blood from left ventricle to left atrium. Then from left ventricle it enters through, goes through aorta, which is the biggest part of the biggest artery. From left ventricle it goes to the aorta, which is the largest artery, via aortic valve, and then aorta carries oxygenated blood to the different part of the body. This is the how cardiac cycle takes place, how the circulation takes place. This is how the circulation takes place. Now, as we know that there are four chambers, when the heart chambers contracts, the phase is known as systole. When the auricles contract, we call it auricular systole. When ventricles contract, we call it ventricular systole. When the heart chamber relaxes, the phase is known as diastole. The phase is known as diastole. When auricles relax, then we call it your auricular diastole. When the ventricles relax, we call it ventricular diastole. Clear? Now, what is the heart sound? The heart sound is lub-dub. Lub-dub. Now, what is cardiac cycle? Cardiac cycle comprises a complete relaxation and contraction of both atria and ventricle. Means when we complete both all the four chambers, when it completely relaxes and contracts, then the cycle is known as cardiac cycle. And this lasts for 0.8 seconds. 0.8 seconds. Now, what is pulse? Pulse, you can feel it in your hands, in your hand, in your neck. Okay, what is pulse? The impulse transmitted to arteries by contraction of the left ventricle of the heart. The alternate expansion and elastic recoil on the wall of the artery during the ventricular systole. This is another definition of pulse. Now we will study. So we have read about blood and heart. The last is blood vessels. Now what is blood vessels? Blood vessels carry blood throughout the body. There are three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood. Arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood. Now the exchange of gases, I told you, if you remember, that the exchange of gases takes place in lungs alveolar capillaries. So this is the capillaries where the exchange of gases takes place between blood and cells. Clear? Next, we will study about the difference between artery and vein. How will you differentiate that which is artery and which is vein? An artery carries blood away from heart. Now, if you remember, aorta is an artery. Aorta is the largest artery which carries oxygenated blood away from the heart to the different part of the organ, to the different organs, right? Or to the different part of the body. So, arteries carry blood away from the heart and veins carry blood towards the heart. If you remember, your vena cava, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, pulmonary vein, these all brings blood towards the heart, An artery is thicker than a vein. Artery is thicker. Why it is thicker? Because it has to travel a larger distance. A vein is comparatively thinner. Because it travels a shorter distance. Pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood. This is the exception. All the artery carry oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. All the artery carries oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. All the veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein. Now arteries have a wider lumen, narrow lumen. Why it has narrow lumen and thick walls? To prevent so that it can withstand pressure. Whereas veins have a wider lumen but thinner wall. Why? So it doesn't have to withstand so much of pressure. Blood flows under pressure through an artery. This is why it has a rigid and thick walls. Okay, and blood flows through vein is much calmer. And as I told you, lumen of artery is narrow, but in case of vein, it is wider. Now, one more thing I need to explain you, that the ventricle chambers are thicker than the auricles. Why? Because this ventricle has to go against the gradient. See, it is going against the gradient. So to withstand its pressure, the ventricles are thicker than the auricles. Clear? Now, out of right ventricle and left ventricle is thicker. Why? Out of right ventricle and left ventricle is thicker. Why? Because right ventricle only carries blood to the lungs, but left ventricle has to pump the blood to the distant part of the body. So it has to travel a larger distance. So this and larger distance. So that is why it has to it exerts a greater pressure. So this is why left ventricle is having a thicker walls. Clear? Next, we will study about capillaries. Arteries when we have read. Now capillaries forms a connection between arteries and veins. It forms a connection. See, this is capillaries. This is capillaries and it forms a connection between arteries and veins. The walls are one cell, only one cell thick. It is very fine. It is hair-like structure. Okay, for easy exchange of blood. Why it is so thin? So that it can easily exchange the gases. Okay. Now you see this is artery. Artery carries oxygenated blood. That is why it is showing red in color, except pulmonary artery. Now arteries are, see, it has a narrow lumen. It has a narrow lumen but thicker wall. Why it has a thicker wall and narrow lumen? To withstand the pressure. But it has a wider lumen. It has a wider lumen and thin wall. Okay. Now arteries are divided into arterioles, then it forms a capillaries, then these branches are venules which reunite to form veins. I am repeating myself. Arteries are divided into arterioles, then this is the network between artery and vein, so it is a capillary, and these are the venules. These are the venules which reunite, which join to form a vein. Clear? Next, we will study about blood pressure. Now, what is blood pressure? The pressure exerted by the blood when it flows through the blood vessels. Obviously, when the blood is flowing in a blood vessel, it will create a pressure. This pressure is known as the blood pressure. Now, there are two variants of blood pressure, systolic blood pressure and diastolic. As I told you, what is systolic? When the chambers contract. And what is diastolic? When the chambers relax. So the pressure exerted on the walls of arteries when the heart is filling with blood is called diastolic pressure. When the pressure exerted on the walls of arteries, then the heart is filling with blood. This pressure is called diastolic pressure, and it constitutes the minimum pressure on arteries. Now, what is the normal diastolic pressure? 60 to 80 millimeter. And when the pressure exerted on the wall of the artery, heart is pumping the blood. When heart is pumping, when the heart is filling, it is diastolic. When the heart is pumping, then it is systolic. Okay. It constitutes maximum pressure. It constitutes a maximum pressure on the arteries. So, what is the range of systolic pressure? 90 to 120. So, you must have read that what is the normal blood pressure? 80 to 120. 80 to 120 millimeter of Hg or mercury. Now, what is double circulation? As we have read in the circulation that the blood is flowing twice through the heart. The blood is flowing twice through the heart. This circulation, when it goes to the lungs, we call it pulmonary circulation. Again, when from lungs, again when blood comes in the heart, and when it transports to the different parts of the body, when it pumps the blood to the different part of the, it transports the blood to the different part of the blood body. This is called systemic circulation. So that is why it is known as the double circulation. In the human body, the blood circulates twice through the heart. Once it goes through the heart during pulmonary circulation, and the second time during systemic circulation. What is systemic circulation? Body circulation. Hence, circulation in human being is called double circulation. I am explaining through with the help of this diagram. See, the vena cavas are pouring deoxygenated blood. I told you the deoxygenated we designate as blue color and the oxygenated as red color. So it is entering to auricle, ventricle, then it is going to the lungs. See, it is going to the lungs. So when it is going to the lungs, this circulation is known as pulmonary circulation. See, when now it is exchanging gases in lungs capillaries, in alveolar capillaries, then the oxygenated blood is entering in the left auricle, left ventricle, then via aorta, it is transporting to the different parts of the body. This is known as body circulation or systemic circulation. So blood is circulating twice through the heart. So this is why it is known as double circulation. Now, last, lymph. Lymph is what? What is lymph? Lymph is an extracellular fluid similar to plasma. This is also colorless with lesser protein. With lesser protein. Okay. Now, function. What is the function of lymph? Transportation of digested and absorbed fats from the small intestine. This is the function, and it drains out excess fluid from the intercellular spaces. Now, what is intercellular spaces? There are some cells which leaked out. This is known as intercellular. This is known as tissue fluid. Okay, back in the blood. Now, in higher animals, example birds and animals, oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood are completely separate for efficient oxygen supply. This is to fulfill higher energy needs to maintain the body temperature. This is why our body, we are called as warm-blooded animals. Now, whereas amphibians and reptiles, they have three-chambered hearts. They have three-chambered heart where little mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood takes place. Therefore, the body temperature, their body temperature varies with the temperature of the environment. So, they are called as cold-blooded animals. Clear? So I hope this video is clear. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Go through this video, and if you have any problem, any doubt, please feel free to ask us. Thank you. Take care. Stay at home.